So prior to Knighthead taking over, this is what us as Birmingham City fans were used to and had to endure. Poor owners who had no idea how to manage a football club, poor financing and planning and management, transfer embargoes, points deductions, flirting with relegation for 8-9 seasons, crumbling stadium, partially closed for 2.5 years, shopping in the free agents and loan markets. I even remember Troy Deeney telling a story there. The players had to have a whip around to buy some footballs during training.
Yeah, and the hot water in the showers didn't work at the
No
training
hot
ground.
water, yeah. And that's what we were used to as a football club for many, many years. So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. So what is happening at Birmingham City? It's a fantastic question because there's lots of noise in the media, lots of publicity about the massive transfer window that Birmingham City had. But as Birmingham City supporters, I'm wondering whether other fans outside of Birmingham City actually really understand what's happening at this club. Incredible times are happening here, a turnaround that we have unprecedented that we've ever seen. And in this video, we just want to have a little chat about the difference that's been made since the takeover by our current owners, Knighthead Capital, headed by Tom Wagner. So, Matt, you've seen what some fans are saying, always doubting what's going on at Birmingham City, and that's fine, and that'll continue to happen. But if you could sort of explain in a nutshell before we go into a little bit of detail what you think is different about Birmingham City right now, what would you say?
Oh, it's a completely different club to be a part of, isn't it? It's absolutely incredible. I mean, if you look at where we were 12 months ago, but then also the last 13 years, it's been chaos. It's been turmoil. It's been watching Dross down the Blues. It's been really, a miserable experience, if we're going to be perfectly honest, hasn't it, Dad, the past sort of 13 years? Ever since the cup win, really, and that relegation year, it's just been all downhill, bad luck. Bad decisions, bad investments, bad ownerships. And now, Knighthead have taken over, Tom Wagner, all the sponsorships, big investment, big transfer window, stadium improvements, all these sponsors. I mean, the list goes on and on, what's happening at the club, but It's just a wonderful experience to be a part of, isn't it?
Well, we've always had a fantastic fan base, and even in the bad times, the fans have been there. Yes, we haven't been selling out our stadium. There's been lots of empty seats, but the core set of fans have stuck with the team through all the bad times, and we always will, because that's what we do as Birmingham City supporters. But really, I think this is born out of the fact of the Wrexham game, highly hyped up, which happened, a couple of weeks ago by the time this podcast goes out. And it was hyped up about, the fact that Wrexham have got Hollywood stars. We've got the link through Tom Brady of the NFL. But actually, the atmosphere at that game was absolutely incredible, and every single home game so far at Birmingham City has been sold out. Every away allocation has been sold out this season for a club that got relegated to League One. And I don't know if you saw what David Beckham said about the atmosphere. And
whilst he was covering the Champions League.
That was funny, because he was covering Aston Villa's big, game in the Champions League. He said, because he attended the Birmingham versus Wrexham game. It was amazing, he said on Monday. The atmosphere was great. You don't get that. I haven't seen an atmosphere like that for a long time, where the Birmingham and Wrexham fans were incredible. Tom sat next to me and he was saying the atmosphere is amazing. This is Tom Brady. And he asked them, what are they singing? So he did as well. And then there's a tweet put out by Birmingham City Football Club from a railway station 2 miles away from the ground.
Moore Street, wasn't it?
And you could clearly hear
It's incredible.
the stadium 2 miles away, and it was actually really, really audible. And also as well, one final thing as well, there was a YouTuber that attended that match. I think he was a guest of Davo, Dimdropper. It was an American chap. And he put on his a video or podcast that it's the loudest game he'd ever been to, and he's been to the North London Derby. So this atmosphere that we're generating as Birmingham City supporters all really is culminating with what is going on at the club, isn't it? And it was absolutely incredible. I mean, but that atmosphere we had against Wrexham, we had a great atmosphere against Reading, because that didn't go the way we wanted, did that one? That was a 1-1 draw, but the fans still stuck with the team.
Yeah.
And it's completely changed around, hasn't it?
It's like supporting a completely different club, and full credit to Knighthead and Tom Wagner and everything they've done for us. It's just been Absolutely incredible. I mean, look at everything they've done off the pitch as well, Dad. They've invested in the Nighthead training centre. They've gave all the youth players all their contracts. You know, all these stadium improvements they've done. You know, new catering, hot water. You know, all these different new seats in the family stand, and you know, completely redone the bottom part of the Kop and the Tilton Forwards with the safe standing. You know, an incredible transfer window. They promised us a championship-ready squad for when we get back promoted. It looks like we're on that trajectory. So when we do get back, I genuinely think we'll be really competitive in the championship.
We'll be
all these different promises that they've made, they've gone through. And, you know, the amount of media attention Birmingham City have had this past year, you know, whether we like it or not, we have been spoken about. We've been spoken about left, right and centre. But as fans, that puts us in a lose-lose situation because every game we win, they're going to say, oh, well, you should be winning that because you spent 25 million. Every game you lose, what you do in losing, you spent 25. You cannot win. So as Blues fans, we have to stick by what Wagner said, the FEA scenario. And, you know, we need to stand by the team. And everything about this club at the moment feels different. And one last point for me, Dad, because I think this is a massive point. Chris Davies deserves a monumental amount of credit for this because he's a young manager. He's a progressive manager. And we've always said that the crowds will come and back a winning team, haven't we? We've always said that.
Yep.
And not only are we winning, we're completely dominating a lot of the games that we're in. Fair enough, I agree, Dad. Reading kind of came and ruined the party that opening game of the season, didn't they?
Yeah.
But apart from that, and even in that game we looked good, but we're starting to gel, we're ramping up the gears, and the football we're playing is just absolutely incredible.
It's staggering. And actually, you know, if you take it a step back, you got to you know, give the board the credit for that as well because they appointed Chris Davies, and that was really a sort of raised a few eyebrows. Like, you know, who's he?
Yeah.
Well, even we had to research him when he was actually looking to be appointed. Yeah, and I think a lot of other fans from other clubs will look at Birmingham City. They, of course, they want us to lose. They're going to hate us. You know, that's fine and that's up to them. But I don't think they really appreciate what's coming. You know, I don't think they understand. You know, I think, oh, you know, you can throw all this money at it. You're not going to be successful. And, you know, they feel that we are arrogant. And there are a lot of wind-up merchants of Birmingham City supporters on social media.
But we know Blues fans, Dad.
It's hilarious.
They're just having a laugh. They're not genuine.
But other fans take it seriously. And that's up to them. That's absolutely. I'm not criticising that, you know. But I think a lot of fans, you know, it's very well known for the start of the season. Every other club was saying you're in for a shock and all this type of stuff. And that, you know, we may well get a shock in a game or two, but over the whole season, I think we're very, very strong. I've just done a few bullet points here, which I think you might find interesting. Okay, so this is pre-Nighthead. So Nighthead took over the club it was July 2023 when they finalised the takeover of Birmingham City. So prior to Nighthead taking over, this is what us as Birmingham City fans were used to and had to endure. Poor owners who had no idea how to manage a football club, poor financing and planning and management, transfer embargoes, points deductions, flirting with relegation for 8-9 seasons, crumbling stadium, partially closed for 2.5 years, shopping in the free agents and loan markets. And I even remember Troy Deeney telling a story there. The players had to have a whip around to buy some footballs during training.
Yeah, and the hot water in the showers.
No hot water. Yeah, and that's what we were used to as a football club for many, many years. Suddenly, Nighthead buy us and become our owners. You know, okay, let's just get this one out of the way first. They did make a poor decision in terms of one manager appointment in Rooney.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got to give them that. Okay, fair enough. And, you know, relegation happened, and that happened for a number of factors. It wasn't just that. It was
a culmination of a lot of things.
Yeah, you know, obviously the Tony Mowbray thing was nobody could foresee that. Exactly. And, you know, and it was just a really sort of difficult time for them in terms of the relegation. But millions spent on the stadium and the infrastructure. You mentioned the training ground and the elite training centre and Wast Hills, etc., and the infrastructure as well. This summer, millions spent on the squad, and they couldn't do it the summer that they joined because one, that they were there at the end or near the end of the transfer window, and secondly, we were bound by FFP. We were limited in what we could spend. They could only do it this summer, so this summer was always going to be a reset. And my word, have they spent some money?
They delivered.
Rumours, you know, it isn't rumours, but media sort of speculation sort of changes the value that we spent in the transfer window, anything from 20 million to 50 million.
I think the most I've heard is 55. Someone got 55 from somewhere. So every single day they had a couple of million on.
Yeah. Oh, it's ridiculous as well. Something else, you know, I'm carrying with my bullet points for what's happened. Commercial partnerships and revenue soaring across the whole group. Season ticket sales soaring, merchandise sales soaring. Every home and away game sold out. Fan experience of match day is completely different. It's amazing with the fan parks that they've created, upgrades to the stadium, and attracting worldwide audiences globally. And land purchased for a brand new sports quarter, half a mile away.
I was just about to say, you've rattled through a massive list and you've not even mentioned the wheel site purchase.
Yeah, but I was writing down when I was preparing for this podcast. I was sort of what I think to myself, what have Knighthead done? I'm going, they've done this, they've done this, they've done this. But yeah, the £50 million they spent on a 48-acre site, which is likely to be larger than that because they're obviously, I think they're purchasing other areas of parcels of land around that site, ready for a new sports quarter and a brand new multi-purpose stadium. Visible owners, don't underestimate that. Tom Wagner is clearly a man that wants to be available to the fans, visible to the fans, because one of the big criticisms for the previous owners was that we didn't know who to speak to. Nobody was ever at games.
Well, Wagner goes in the Roost and the George. He's in there before the game starts, so it shows that he wants to be a man of the people and have the real, genuine backing of the fans, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I haven't finished it either. Brand of football we're now playing because of this investment is now amazing. Hard to believe, as Birmingham City supporters, that what we're watching is Birmingham City. The atmosphere in the stadium is something else. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. It's always been good, but now it is really.
It's back to the Premier League days.
You've got to experience, and it's just such a turnaround. And I think that because of Tom Wagner's vision for what he wants for Birmingham City, the fact is, it's not pie in the sky. I would like to build a new stadium. The land is already bought for it. Mm-hmm. It's very close to the current stadium. Massive site, and he doesn't just want to build a stadium. He wants to build a sports quarter as well. Yeah. Also, let's also talk about the women's team as well and the way that they invested in the women's team.
They were beaten this season, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
Incredible season.
The academies, like you said, they looking to gain Category 1 status, and I think that will happen, within the time frame that they want. All of the youth players have got contracts now, so they're protected, and it is a complete 360-degree turnaround from what we had. It's absolutely staggering, isn't it? It really, isn't it?
Yeah. Probably shouldn't have bothered preparing for this video, Dad. You've just rattled off absolutely every positive the Knighthead have ever done, I think. No. When you hear it in that format, just kind of bang, 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 point, 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 it really is staggering what they've done and how they've improved this club, hasn't it? And I think as Blues fans, we've been so used to being let down. We've been so used to chaos on and off the pitch. And fair enough, I know last season, you've touched on it, Dad, so I'm not going to give it any more airtime. It was turbulent at times, no one could have foreseen Mowbray. Wagner's effectively put his hands up and admitted with the Rooney situation. We get it, we've moved past it. But I think moving from this season on, as a fan base, we're getting consistency. We're getting a consistent brand of football. We've now got a consistent manager. We are going to start to get a consistent lineup. We know that we're pretty much going to sell out every game. There's consistency all over this football club where we've been so used to turbulence and chaos. Yeah. And that's just a nice feeling to be at St.Andrews in your seat and you just know the football world isn't burning around you because that's what we've been used to for so long, isn't it? And it's such a fantastic feeling. We are genuinely on the rise again. And, I think I want to mention this, Dad, before we sort of wrap up. And I think people are worried a little bit about the DNA of the club and, what we represent and the way, the club is going in terms of revenue. We've just got a deal with Delta. I think Pepsi might be on the horizon because that was in the background of a lot of the celebrities that day. We've got all these undefeated and, Wagner's definitely putting us on the map. And a lot of fans are worried about that. What's the term? Kind of Americanization, for a lack of a better phrase. That kind of corporate, that thing. But what the home games have proven to me is that we'll never lose that DNA because St.Andrews is a blooming nasty place to go to. We were loud, we were nasty, we were hostile. And that's what, for me, the fan experience is about. So let Wagner do his deals, let him put us on the map. When we turn up at St.Andrews, we still bring the noise and we make it as hostile as we can. And for me, that's the way we keep the DNA of the club.
Yeah, and I think that in order to be a successful football club in today's commercial world, you've got to do the things the club are doing. It is going to cost us fans more money, and I don't think we could hide behind that. I do think we'll start to see season ticket prices starting to increase. But then you got to ask yourself, you can't have it both ways. So you can't complain about that with all the investment that they've made. Yeah, and I know it's tough. Don't get me wrong. I totally understand that not everybody can afford it, and it is an expensive thing. I really do get that. So I'm not suggesting that people that can't afford it, try and find ways of actually getting the money. But I think that if you have a club that's turned around the way that we have and all the investment, you're going to have to expect that over time they're going to try and want more from the fans. I hope it's
sustainable increases.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So I think the Blues fans, based upon good quality football and success, will shoulder some extra cost. But I think there is a line that if they cross it, they're gonna upset the fan base. But
I think we would be naive as a fan base to not expect some sort of price increases at the gate and at the shop, club shop, and stuff like that. But we go to every home game, Dad. We go to every away game we possibly can. It's expensive.
Yeah,
the match day experience is expensive, and I totally get that. And people need to sometimes make decisions, don't they, in their personal life, whether they can make the football work for them or not. And everyone's different. Everyone's got different circumstances. Me and you will shoulder a cost to a point,
like a lot of fans.
Like a lot of fans.
Everyone's got their level, haven't
exactly.
they? Yeah,
exactly. But I just hope, as you say, I think the word is sustainable.
Yeah. I think that they will. The club, they seem to have brought the fans on board, so I think they'll be very conscious of that as well. Just one final point for me as well, and I think this is really important to mention. We have to give credit to Gary Cook. I think that he got a lot of stick for the Rooney appointments, and we don't know what happened behind there. That's all gone now. Rooney's gone somewhere else, thankfully. And but and our club is going the right direction. But I think with Gary Cook's background from Manchester City, he knows how to get a club moving. He knows what to do, and we're very lucky to have him. I know a lot of Blues fans, are very highly critical of him for the Rooney appointment, but he is our CEO, so he is behind a lot of what's going on. And I just think that we don't often say this, because he's not a footballer. They get all of the limelight, don't they? Tom Wagner we're always very complimentary about because he's the figurehead. But I just think it's worth just if Gary Cook ever does watch this, but I don't know if he will. But if he ever does, just thank him as well, because we do appreciate the efforts of what you're doing at the club and how you're leading us, and pretty confident that the future under yourselves and Knighthead is very, very good.
And also, no one has a crystal ball. So at the time, obviously, relegation felt like the worst thing in the world. And I'm not saying that Gary Cook was playing 4D chess and got us relegated the Rooney thing. But I think actually relegation, whether we want to admit it or not, it has actually been fantastic. We've managed to make purchases we wouldn't have been able to make in the Championship. We've reset. It gives us a year of having that winning mentality again. One of the biggest things that Ipswich and Wrexham have going for them, especially Ipswich last season, when they're back-to-back promotions, was the winning mentality. They got used to winning again. We can now do that this season, and that is invaluable. So when we do, hopefully, go back to the Championship, we have that winning mentality.
Yeah.
We get used to actually being the favourites in games, which is odd for being Birmingham City. And the transfer window we've had has been absolutely staggering. So actually, when all's said and done, we're exactly where we want to and need to be. And in some ways, relegation it hasn't turned out all that bad, has it?
No. Walking away from the stadium after the Norwich game, it felt like it would be. It felt disastrous. We didn't know what was going on, but Knighthead have basically done exactly what they said they were going to do. Nothing changed, they said, and it hasn't.
And no one looked more devastated on that day than Wagner.
Yeah.
When we lost that game and that final whistle went, I thought the bloke was going to cry.
Do you know, I when I look at the Wrexham game and the atmosphere, the full stadium, and people, chanting Wagner's name, I was really pleased for him, because he gets an insight into what's coming for this club in terms of the atmosphere and the ground. But so we just wanted to really remind Birmingham City supporters, including ourselves actually, as we've done this, how blessed we are really, that this is us, this is our club, this is happening to us, and we're just at the start of that journey. For fans of other clubs, it was merely you're looking in from the outside and maybe you don't know the exactly what's going on at the club. It's just a bit more insight, really. Yeah, I'm sure that some of you will think that we're going to fall flat on our faces. That we're going a lot of people think we're going to get hit by FFP, which doesn't actually apply in League One, by the way. It's a different set of financial rules. But the amount of way the club is being run, the revenue, the partnerships that Matthew mentioned, it's all being done in a way that makes the club sustainable. So we just wanted to do this really for other fans, and just let you know really that we as a club are completely changing, and the future for us is looking really, really good. So that's it really for the podcast, and I hope you've enjoyed that. And we'd love to have comments from Birmingham City supporters particularly. But if you're a fan of another club, you want to leave a comment below, then please do. We welcome all comments. Just bear in mind, if you are a fan of another club, we are a family podcast, and we will not allow any abusive language, swear words, aggressive behaviour, or anything like that. But any other comments, even if you agree or disagree with us, absolutely fine. Put them in the comments below. If you did like this podcast, then don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, then go pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you like listening to your podcast on Spotify, we're also on that now. And you'll see the handles appear for all of these on the screen right now. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content all about Birmingham City. And myself and Matt will see you on the next video.